Hey guys, Near again, and in this video we're going to talk about how to record spatial sound on budget. When we don't have the money to buy fancy sound recorders, but we still want to get things done. So let's get to it. I want to get back to our basic setting. We have a 360 camera in the middle and a bunch of subjects getting around. So we learned in the last video that spatial sound recording is relying on two elements. One is a 360 sound recorder as a base underneath the camera, and the second one is recording aids around the panorama. If it's a spot recorder somewhere near somewhere in the panorama hidden, or if it's a lavalier on the subject. So how do we do that without money? So first let's talk about spot recorders, because this is mainly what we're gonna do. So all of you in your pocket have a really strong sound recorder called the smartphone. Probably heard about it. You can record voice memos on iPhone and similarly on Android devices. And just so we will all be on the same page, let's see how we record voice memos on the iPhone. We're going into extras, voice memos, press record. Simple as that. So let's remember that as an option to use a spot recorder. Now, what about a lavalier? If it's windy and we're moving a lot and I need a feedback closer to the mouth of one of the subjects. So for that we can use iPhone lavs. These are microphones that are connecting to your phones through the iPhone jack, as you can see over here. And they are relatively in a good price. You can see a few versions of that all over here. The one thing about the really cheap ones, like this guy probably, is that it will work great for a time or two or three, but at some point, because the materials are not so good, you won't be able to record with it anymore. It will peak everything. But you can get one of the nicer ones, like the Rode mic, or I know Sennheiser has one as well here, like that, and that will still be reliable for a long time. The pros and cons about it, let's start with the pros. It is cheap. It is very easy to use. You plug it in and then you record a voice memo just exactly as we showed before, and it will work just fine. It is highly recommended if you get one of those to get discrete lavaliers as well, that you can then duct tape to the skin and you won't hear any muffle sound. Really great tool. But the main con about it is that you can't monitor it. Yeah, you can record it, tap on the microphone, see that it works, but then you say to the actor in the beginning of the take, everyone start recording. They see that it's recording, but you can't hear the sound as they're recording. You can't know until the end of the take if you picked it up or you didn't. So it can get messy, but at the same time it can save you a lot of energy and be really simple, because the professional lavaliers are taking a lot of batteries. You need someone to sit there, monitor, see that the radios are okay, and there are a lot of things that can go wrong and to do with those mics. So sometimes this option can be so straightforward and simple, it will help you a lot. So I want to get back to our last example from how to do it professionally, and let's look at how we're doing it under budget. So first of all, obviously we don't have the 8-ball, so we're not gonna have a spatial sound recorder as a base underneath the camera. It's a big loss, but you can live without it. And if you do have the Zoom H2N, that will be good to put as your spatial baseline. By the way, important to say about the H2N, better to order it online because it will be very hard to find it on stores. So just think about that in advance. But let's say that I even don't have that, so how I can still manage. So, and I don't have the baseline and don't have that. So I'm gonna take the iPhone and I'm basically gonna start positioning it around. The good thing about the iPhones is that you have many of them accessible at all times. Everyone on set has an iPhone. Hey buddy, would you mind giving me your phone for a second, and then email it to yourself at the end of the take. And if I know that they're moving all around, so I'll put like 4 and 4 corners, and that can be a good way to go. Now, if I do have a lavaliers, I can take one of those lavaliers and put it on the subject that, let's say he's standing up, these guys are sitting down, and they have this, so each one of them has a phone next to it, and because they're sitting down, they're quite close to the phone, so we don't hear a lot of difference. But this guy is up and he's moving around, so I would want to put a lavalier on him, and obviously he needs a phone to connect the lavalier to the phone to record. That's pretty much it. And then after I'm done with my set, I'm gonna take the phone and I'm gonna record my ambient sound, if it's the kids or the waves, etc. Okay, so to summarize this, first, iPhone mics are very useful. Every one of you is carrying a very strong sound recorder in their pocket. If you would ask me what will be better, an Android or iPhone, usually it will be the Android. Some Samsungs I know can record on stereo, so you can position one side of the mic closer to one subject and then the other one. It's called dialogue setting. I couldn't find it online to show you, but it's there. Check out your phone to see if you have it. Next, phone lavs can be better sometimes than the professional lavs. If you don't have the sound person on team to deal with all that, if you don't want to like rent it, batteries. Happened to me on set that we happened to be next to a radio station and we couldn't record any of the audio because there was so much feedback from the neighbors, so the mics didn't work. So sometimes those guys are a great solution to have. But 3, always have a backup. Even if we are, let's go back to our example over here, we're putting 4 phones everywhere, and if I could, I would put also a lavalier on the subject, and if I could, I would also put the H2N as a backup underneath the camera, because you can never know. And honestly, there's just a lot of things moving around in a 360 mix, and you need a lot of information. And if in traditional 2D you just pile it up on top of another and things were fine, in spatialized sound you do need a lot more simple information in order to accomplish the work. So important to put that in mind. Okay, what next? So next video we're going to take a scene from the movie I'm working on, and we're going to mix it so you can see how we are dealing with all the bunch of different pickups, practically how we're mixing it up, and then how it sounds like at the end. See you in the next video.